So we were at the game last night. You were at the game. You're calling it with Kevin Harlan, who we love. Who
awesome.
I've caught a couple Monday night broadcasts in my car. You guys do a great job. But before the game, you tweeted out, yeah, it's football weather, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No one enjoys playing in this, and no one can play their best football in conditions like this. But what do I know? I'm a dome guy. I'll be here for all the windy action with Kevin Harlan. We had this debate on the show because we think that nights like last night are memorable in how weird and different and cool they are. And that game was so bizarre, and Bill Belichick, what he did was so different and unique that we will always remember that. Why would you want to get rid of that?
Well, it's memorable for who?
For the fans.
We were at
for the
game.
fans, right?
Yeah.
For the fans. And again, I love the fans, and part of what we do is for the fans. But why I would want to get rid of it is because when I have the Patriots against the Bills, and this is for number one in the division, this is for seeding in the playoffs, I want to see the best version of the Bills against the best version of the Patriots, and I want the best team to win, not the best team in those conditions. And I get it. It's what everybody says. It's football weather. This is what it is. But here's the problem that I have, and it doesn't necessarily apply to these two teams, but being a guy that played in a dome, being a guy that played in Arizona, I have no way to get ready for those conditions. And so you can say all you want about home field advantage, and that's why you play. Well, no, because the Patriots can come to Arizona, and there's no difference other than we have our fans, obviously, but they can play in my weather. I can't play in their weather because I can't get used to it. There's nothing you can do to get used to cold weather in a situation. So to me, I'm just like, I want the best. I want to be able to be my best. I want to play against their best, and I want the best to advance. And so for me, last night, I mean, I've played in that weather before. I grew up in Iowa, so I played in all that stuff. You know, and it's just like Bass kicking that ball. I'm sure when he kicked it, he's like, oh, that's money. That's right down the middle. No, shoot. All of a sudden, the wind takes it and it goes to the left, and you say to yourself, what was he supposed to do there? I mean, it's easy to say, well, aim a little bit further because you know the wind's going to pick. And I don't want that stuff to dictate who wins these games and who ultimately, creates history and wins championships. I don't want that to be the case. And it might be memorable to you guys. Mm-hmm. It's not memorable to me. If I'm Mac Jones, yes, I won the game, but I got to throw 3 passes. If they lost that game and Mac Jones got to throw 3 passes, what's he saying today? Like, that sucked. Mm-hmm. I didn't even get a chance to do anything in this game to dictate the outcome of this game because the weather was so awful. So that's my take because I just, especially like you get to the playoffs, I just want to see the best team advance in the playoffs. And to me, the best team is the team that has the opportunity to play their best football.
Okay, so counterpoint.
Okay.
Sports are supposed to be random. Sports are supposed to be fun. Sports are supposed to have things that teams have to overcome at different times to climb that mountain. I think weather adds that element where it's like we were talking about it, like baseball, all the fields aren't even the same. You know what I mean? There's some quirks to the game where you have to change how you're going to adapt. So the best team can adapt to every situation at the end of the day.
But that's what I'm saying is like.
But you played on turf. A team going from cold weather to the turf. Your team's built on speed because you get to play always on the turf. So they might not be as adaptable.
They might not be built for speed, but they can still play in that environment, and it's an easy transition.
What game?
If I take a cold weather team and I put them indoors, I mean, what do they have to get used to? Like,
maybe they put on a little weight because it's cold. What game hurt you? What game? I know there's a specific game that brought about this take. What was it?
I mean, the game was against New England. When we were an Arizona team, okay, and we came out here to play New England, and it was snowing, and it was a wet snow. And so, like, after the game, you hear about New England, and they're like, oh, yeah, we put Vaseline on the bottom of our cleats. We're like, what? What does that mean?
That doesn't sound like the Patriots.
You put Vaseline. No, I don't think it's illegal, but it melts the snow. And so all of us have this packed wet snow on our cleats, and we're slipping all over the place. And they're like, hey, we put Vaseline on the bottom of our shoes. And so my point being is that there is a mental component to playing the game. And there is something to what you're saying is that, oh, yeah, we both got to show up in that game and we've got to play football. And I get that because I grew up playing in all kinds of conditions. But the bottom line is How do I do that when I play in Arizona? How do I get acclimated for that junk when I'm in Arizona and I get to fly out on a Saturday and I got to play on a Sunday? There's just no way for me to do that.
The variety is what makes it beautiful, though.
Yeah.
Like, I like the variety.
If you say so.
Yeah. What's your favorite meal?
Pizza
Would you want to eat pizza for every single meal?
over anything else, yeah.
No, but I mean,
Every
that's the
single
only
meal for the
meal
rest
that
of
you
your
can
life.
have.
Would I want to? No, not if I have choices.
Yeah, so it's like variety is the spice of life. That's what makes sports interesting.
Would I
is when-
rather play in a dome in every game that I play than anywhere else?
Yeah, we're not
Yes.
saying dome football is,
I'll
is
take
bad
every game.
football. I
I'll
like
take every
this.
game.
By
not
the way,
bad.
just some context here because I just went and looked it up. The Patriots won 47-7.
47
Kurt
to
Warner was 6
7.
for 18 for 30 yards.
That sounds like a pretty good beer special. Though.
I understand where the genesis of this take is.
Right, what?
It makes sense.
The genesis of the take, and so you hear all.
It all makes sense.
You hear all kinds of stories, but so we get off the bus, and I heard stories from our coaches up in the box that as they went up to the box, and we went out onto the field, that all of a sudden there was like an eruption, a cheer from the Patriots, like coaching staff or box or whatever's up there, and come to find out later that all they did was look down at us, and our whole team was over by the heater, before the game as we're getting warmed up, and they're cheering like, we got this thing. These guys have no chance. But it's such a real thing, is that the mental component to going from a warm weather place to a cold weather place and having to deal with the cold weather, having to deal with the elements and not knowing how to do that is a real thing. And again, I get it. If you're a Buffalo or a New England, you're saying, yeah, we want that because you get to practice in it every day.
Yeah.
You get to work on those things every day. I can't help it that I got drafted or signed by Arizona. So I have no chance in that setting. And so, you look at the NFC and you got the Packers. Packers are probably just, we need home field advantage. We get home field advantage. All these teams are going to be messed up when they come here. I can go to the Dome in Arizona. I can go to Tampa, and we can play. So we don't deal with as much of a disadvantage as they do having to come to our place because we're accustomed to
Isn't it kind of beautiful, though, in professional sports that
You
certain
keep using
teams...
this word beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Like, did you see
He's
the
right.
picture I sent last night?
I was
It
there.
was awesome. We were there.
I
It
was
was
at
awesome.
the game.
That was
I was
ugly.
at the game. It was
Great.
gorgeous.
We were also in a suite.
It was gorgeous.
That right now.
I was wearing a t-shirt
It was actually
inside.
so hot in the suite we had to open up the
Yeah.
windows. No joke.
Exactly. Exactly.
But there's something great, though, about in professional sports that certain teams take on the identity of the city in which they're located. Different parts of the United States have different things that make them unique and make them different and make them interesting. And so in Buffalo, I love seeing the people that are wearing like the parkas or the one guy that's like shirtless out there, wearing the Zubaz pants. I love seeing in Green Bay when they've got half the stadium wearing hunting camouflage with the dots of orange that you see everywhere. Yep. I like that stuff. I like when you go down to Miami. Everybody is, they look like they're in Miami, Florida, So I like the variety that it gives you. I think it's a good thing for professional sports. I can understand from your perspective as a quarterback, you're probably actually the last person that, I've actually changed my mind talking to you. I think that for you, you have the exact correct take. As a quarterback that loves to throw the ball, I can understand why you would not like that sort of weather. But as fans,
and
we love
again,
it.
47-7,
Well,
6 for 18 for 30 yards.
That goes a long way in my experience.
You want to
on
lay down
why.
on the couch? We can really dig into this
But
experience.
I think the bottom line is, have you ever thrown a ball that slips out of your hands?
Yeah.
Just slips. And you say to yourself, what? There's nothing I could do about that. Like, it slipped out of my hands, right? If you've ever kicked a field goal and you go, that's going right down the middle and the wind blows it to the right. Or you throw a pass and you're like, oh, that's money. And all of a sudden the wind takes it and you miss. You have situations like that and you go, what am I supposed to do there? I threw it, I kicked it, right? I did exactly what I've been doing my whole life, and it didn't work out for me. So now I'm going home and you're advancing in the playoffs because the ball slipped out of my hands. That's the kind of stuff to me that I don't ever want that to dictate a game, because you can say what you want. There was nothing I could do about a ball slipping out of my hands. I mean, we've all seen it. Baker a couple weeks ago, ball slips out of his hands. Seen Eli do it a million times. Kyler Murray did it last week in Chicago. Goes to throw it, ball slips out of their hands. I just don't want that to dictate whether I advance in the playoffs or not. And other people, I got buddies that are like, that's football weather, or that's how it should be. I'd rather not.
I think it's partially, too, that football has advanced to a point where it's obviously a passing league. So there's something that's fun about a team that can impose their will and run the football down another team's throat. And like those teams, in a weird way, have become the fun outliers. Like when San Francisco's rolling, it's fun to watch them play because it's different than the rest of the league.
And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you're right. I enjoy that. I don't. It's not that I don't enjoy good defensive football or I don't enjoy a team that can run the football, because I still believe games are won in the trenches. As much as I like to throw it and as much as we like to see these high-flying numbers, I appreciate good football no matter what it looks like. My whole take is just I don't want the weather to dictate a play or something that ends up dictating history because you can't control it. I'm with you. You know, you can look at the punt last night with N'Keal Harry, and I can easily say to myself, just get away from the football. Like, that was a mistake that you made. I'm not blaming the wind for you trying to even catch that thing when the wind's going nuts. But a ball slipping out of your hands or the kick that just gets blown, you know, because you watch the kick, it was going through. I mean, if there's no wind or a little less wind, that ball's going through. And then all of a sudden it takes a right turn.
That was awesome.
And you're saying it's awesome.
And
that kicker's going in going, Coach, I just lost the game for us. I get it.
They should have kicked.
But
I don't know.
I don't know what I should have done.
He was missing that kick
situation.
the exact same way in pre-games, in the warm-ups. So
actually, he was making more than Folk was making on that end. But anyway,
I saw a really nasty one that really hit the wind. You can aim a little bit further, because you're right. He hit it right down the middle, and it blew out to the side. It sucks because like you are trained as a kicker. You know, the middle never changes.
Right.
That's what Morton Anderson taught me.
Yep.
Middle never changes. Aim for the middle always. You don't want to ever aim for a post because that throws you all off. You're not used to it.
Yep.
But I think the difference between us and you, and we can leave it at this, we can agree to disagree, is that you like good football. We like weird football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't,
good football.
And I don't
but the
mind,
weirder the better sometimes.
And I actually don't mind weird football. Just when it really matters, to me, is what I worry about more than anything. Like, I can live with last night in the regular season. I don't want to see that in the playoffs. I mean, and again, last year, Bills, Ravens in the playoffs, I believe the weather dictated that game. I still think the Bills were the better team, should have won the game, but I just want to make sure that come playoff time and who's going to the Super Bowl and who's advancing and who's writing history is not done because of some fluke thing that happened with weather or wind or rain. I just want it to be the best team.
Okay,